People living along the borders in Jammu and Kashmir are again in the line of fire. Yesterday there was a major ceasefire violation, the first after ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan in February 2021. For almost near 3 years, ceasefire was holding on. People were living peacefully. They were going for the routine farming and other regular activities. But yesterday there was a major ceasefire violation. Not only the machine guns were used, but also the mortar guns were used, and not only the military target, BSF target posts were targeted, but also the civilians were targeted. 3 people, including a BSF man, and 2 civilians have been injured. Last week there was also a ceasefire violation, a sniper firing in which 2 BSF jawans were injured, but that was immediately resolved. A flag meeting was held by the BSF and Pakistani Rangers at the local commander level, and issues were resolved. But the way it has gone since yesterday, massive overnight shelling, firing in Arnia sector and also in the street gate, clearly shows the designs from across the border. As BSF says, it was unprovoked firing from Pakistan, and there has been befitting reply to the Pakistani shelling. This ceasefire violation has come hours after a major infiltration attempt was foiled in Machil sector in Kupwara district of North Kashmir. 5 militants, heavily armed militants, according to police, have been killed. They were Lashkar militants. 5 rifles and other arms and ammunition have been recovered. This clearly shows, according to police, that Pakistani handlers are trying to push in more militants before the winter sets in and snowfall blocks the mountain pass along the line of control. But the bigger worry is, will the ceasefire, understanding between 2 countries, will now stay, or it will be shattered after last night's firing, overnight firing, when even civilians were targeted and they had to flee from their homes. Borders in Jammu and Kashmir have been always fragile, vulnerable to infiltration and cross-border shelling. It continued for decades. In 2003, during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, NDA-1, India and Pakistan agreed on a ceasefire, which continued for more than a decade. In 2013, that ceasefire was shattered and the massive firing took place again in the international border, in Sama, Kutwa and Arnia also. Large number of people were displaced, and people actually suffer the most during the hostilities between 2 countries. So it continued till 2020, and remember, in 2020 there were 4,000 ceasefire violations along the international border and line of control in Jammu and Kashmir. And because of that, both countries agreed on the ceasefire, rather renewed their ceasefire in February 2021. It was the time when army was largely engaged in eastern Ladakh along the line of actual control, confronting PLA after the Galwan incident. A large section of the security forces, army and their assets had to be mobilized and sent to the eastern Ladakh because of the very, very tense and the difficult situation there, which largely still continues. And LOC actually became, after the ceasefire with Pakistan, more calm, and more importantly for the people living along the line of control, there was a sense of disbelief how all this has happened. And because both countries actually upheld, armies and the security agents, they upheld the ceasefire. But now we see, since yesterday, people are forced to flee from their homes for safety for whole night. And importantly, it is also a time when this is the season of harvesting and also the marriage season in the area, when we see now the firing from across the border, targeting common people and the residential areas. That becomes a bigger challenge. BSF has said that they are monitoring the situation very closely and will respond wherever it is necessary. But the larger picture is While the local militancy appears to be dying or very few are joining according to police militancy, their efforts to push in foreign militants into the valley, there have been several encounters in the recent past, and then the ceasefire is under stress. After almost 3 years, when there was peace along the line of control and the borders in Jammu and Kashmir, ceasefire is again under stress. And it is the common people who always bear the brunt.